Caitlin Clark is going viral for arguing with her head coach, Christie Sides, during the Fever Sky game.
Look closely. What do you see? That's the look of someone who's not super happy with her coach. That's the face of someone capable of playing 4D chess, but being forced to play Connect 4. It's like Einstein getting physics advice from the situation. We all suspected there was tension between Caitlin Clark and her former coach, Christie Sides. It was written all over Caitlin's face throughout her rookie campaign, even though she never said anything bad about her, until now. Caitlin Clark just dropped some harsh truth about her ex-coach, Christie Sides, and holy f***ing shit, it explains a lot. With a new coach, Stephanie White, stepping in, Caitlin felt comfortable enough to let everyone know how she really felt about her. It's making everyone wonder just how much Caitlin's dissatisfaction played a role in the coaching change. And on the flip side, it's getting her fans really excited about how much better Caitlin and the Fever will perform next season. Based on what Caitlin said, you get the sense the improvement could be so huge that the haters will be forced to reluctantly bend the knee. If you're a Caitlin Clark fan, buckle up. You're going to love this. And if you're a Kate hater, sorry, because 2025 isn't going to be fun for you. Subscribe if you're excited about watching the haters melt down. Okay, let's rewind to Caitlin Clark's rookie season. The 2024 WNBA Rookie of the Year had a debut season for the books. She led the Indiana Fever to their first playoff appearance since 2016, broke multiple records, and became the face of the franchise overnight. Clark averaged nearly 20 points per game, led the league in assists, and became the first rookie in WNBA history to record 5 40-plus point games. With a 2020 record, the Fever earned the 6th seed, a dramatic improvement for a team that had been at the bottom of the league for years.
Jackson calling forward and gets it. Here's Hamby on the post. Against Sanderson, stripped away, picked up by Clark. Clark, the feet underneath, back Binley working against Giroux. What a move there!
But it wasn't all sunshine and lollipops. There were obvious issues. The Fever's playoff run ended immediately with a sweep by the veteran-heavy Connecticut Sun. And while the Sun were a strong team, the series exposed major flaws in the Fever's game planning. Fans pointed fingers at Christie Sides, whose coaching decisions throughout the season left much to be desired. Even during the regular season, it was clear that Caitlin and Christie weren't always on the same page. Despite being the team's superstar, Caitlin wasn't always put in positions to succeed. There were questionable play calls, underutilizing her strengths, and what looked like an overly rigid approach frustrated fans, and apparently Caitlin herself. Clips of visible arguments between Caitlin and Sides went viral, fueling speculation of a rift.
Caitlin Clark is going viral for arguing with her head coach, Christie Sides, during the Fever Sky game. This is only one of many instances where Clark has been seen visibly upset with Coach Sides. And after last night's loss, Clark expressed how no one gives her advice during game.
When the Fever was swept in the playoffs, Sides was promptly fired. The timing was loud. Sides' firing on October 27th felt inevitable. But Caitlin's reaction, or lack thereof, was telling. Caitlin made no public statements about her coach's dismissal. Not a tweet, not an Instagram post, nothing. But when Stephanie White was announced as the new head coach, Caitlin's tone shifted. She posted a warm welcome to White, and her comment sounded like a relief. It was becoming clear the Caitlin Sides partnership wasn't working. Fast forward to Caitlin Clark's feature in Time magazine, where she was named Athlete of the Year. This wasn't just another accolade. It was a moment where Caitlin's voice finally broke through the carefully crafted public narratives about her rookie season. During a shoot-around interview for the feature, Caitlin made a statement that gave everyone pause.
When Stephanie White stopped by the shoot-around that I was at, I mentioned to Stephanie White, hey, Caitlin really was impressed with your game plan. She told me earlier in the day, and Stephanie was, something along the lines of, yeah, you'll get him. And then, and Caitlin said, yeah, we never really had the best game plans back. And, I heard that. It was like, wow. I mean, that's a little bit of a, I'm sure Christie Sides doesn't love hearing that.
And boom goes the dynamite. For Caitlin fans, it was a mic drop moment. For the haters, a reality check. This wasn't a subtle critique. It was a direct indictment of Christie Sides' coaching strategies during Caitlin's historic rookie campaign. Let's break it down. Caitlin is not the type to throw someone under the bus lightly. She's a competitor who usually keeps her frustrations in-house. But this comment, it was clear, unfiltered, and brutally honest. What makes this even more significant is the context. Caitlin said this in front of Times journalist Sean Gregory, knowing it would be published. That's not an accidental slip. That's a deliberate move to let the world know how she felt about her rookie experience under Sides. Let's rewind to those viral clips of visible frustration between Caitlin and Christie Sides on the sidelines. That wasn't just a one-off. Throughout the season, fans noticed moments where Caitlin's body language screamed, "What are we doing?" Now, Caitlin's time comment retroactively confirms what we all suspected, that the Fever wasn't maximizing Caitlin's generational talent. Sides' game plans weren't just ineffective, they actively limited what Caitlin could do on the court. This also raises a critical question. How much of the Fever's success in 2024 came from Caitlin's brilliance, and how much was in spite of the coaching? When the Fever were swept in the first round of the playoffs by the veteran Connecticut Sun, the flaws in Sides' game plans were on full display. The Fever's offensive sets looked predictable and lacked creativity, especially in crunch time moments. Sides failed to fully utilize Caitlin's strengths, like her ability to playmake in transition and her range from beyond the arc. Instead, the team seemed stuck in a rigid system that didn't adapt to opponents' strategies. The Sun exploited the Fever's weaknesses relentlessly, and Sides didn't make the in-game adjustments necessary to keep the games competitive. The sweep wasn't just a loss, it was a statement. A glaring example of how poor coaching could undermine a team's potential. When Christie Sides was fired on October 27th, Caitlin's reaction, or lack thereof, was loud. Caitlin didn't post any messages thanking Sides for her time as head coach, which is pretty common in today's sports world. It was crickets. When Stephanie White was announced as the new head coach, Caitlin immediately posted a warm welcome. Her tone was optimistic, and her comments felt like a breath of fresh air.
A generational player in Caitlin Clark, a generational player in Aaliyah Boston, certainly when you think about back-to-back Rookie of the Years and what each of those players have done up until this point for their universities.
This contrast spoke volumes. Caitlin wasn't going to openly celebrate Sides' firing, but her excitement about White's arrival made it clear she saw this as a step in the right direction. When Caitlin said, "We never really had the best game plans back," then, it wasn't just a dig at Sides. It was a window into the frustrations she endured during her rookie season. Caitlin knows what it takes to win. She's a basketball savant, capable of seeing the game on a level most players never reach. To her, Sides' rigid, ineffective game planning must have felt like a waste of her abilities. With a new coach in Stephanie White, Caitlin felt free to reflect honestly on what went wrong. Her comment wasn't just about the past, it was about setting expectations for the future. This moment confirmed what fans had speculated all season. The Caitlin-Sides partnership wasn't just flawed, it was holding Caitlin back. And now that the Fever have turned the page, the focus shifts to what Caitlin can achieve with a coach who truly understands her game. This comment wasn't just a passing critique, it was a direct shot at Sides coaching. Caitlin's dissatisfaction with the team's lack of strategy had been an open secret, but now it was out in the open. Caitlin's candid remarks about Christie Sides and the team's lack of strategy opened the door to a deeper discussion. How much did the coach's questionable decisions hold Caitlin and the Fever back? Let's start with Caitlin's comment. "We never really had the best game plans back then." It's a simple statement, but it speaks volumes. Caitlin wasn't just frustrated with isolated moments. She was highlighting a systemic issue that plagued the team throughout the season. So, what do Caitlin's comments tell us? Caitlin Clark is a once-in-a-generation talent. Her basketball IQ is off the charts. She's the type of player who needs structure and smart game plans to maximize her abilities. Imagine being one of the smartest players on the court, someone who can read defenses and create plays like it's second nature, only to have your talent underutilized because of outdated or ineffective coaching. That's what Caitlin seemed to endure under Sides. Sides' lack of effective strategy didn't just frustrate Caitlin. It likely stunted the Fever's success and Caitlin's ability to shine. For example, Caitlin thrives in fast-paced, dynamic offensive systems, where she can exploit defenses with her quick decision-making and deep shooting range. Instead, the Fever's offense often looked stagnant, relying too heavily on Caitlin to create magic out of nothing. Sides didn't seem to trust Caitlin to take full control of the offense, often forcing her into rigid roles rather than letting her dictate the game's flow. For a player like Caitlin, that's like asking Picasso to paint by numbers. It's not just inefficient, it's insulting. Caitlin's post-Olympic stats, 23+ points per game, showed what she was capable of when given freedom. But imagine what she could have done with a coach who understood how to unleash her full potential? Let's address the elephant in the room. Did Caitlin Clark have a hand in Sides' firing? Caitlin herself downplayed the speculation, joking, "I'm actually not the general manager of the team." But let's not act like superstar players don't influence coaching decisions. Examples abound in sports. From LeBron James to Tom Brady, greatness demands greatness. If personnel isn't meeting their standard, changes are made. Caitlin's visible frustration throughout the season likely sent a message to management. She needs a coach who can keep up with her.
And, if you study Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, they really were big on trust and basketball IQ. So the reason I shared that is she's thinking from a very pragmatic, very successful, win the game mentality. It is nothing against you. I might like you. I just don't believe that you work that hard for the moment.
It's not uncommon for teams to prioritize their franchise players' happiness, and Caitlin is the franchise. Now here's what Caitlin fans are going to love. With Stephanie White stepping in as head coach, the sky's the limit. White is a proven winner with a history of postseason success. She knows how to build around star players and get the best out of her roster. For Caitlin, this is a fresh start, a chance to finally play with a coach who understands her game and can craft strategies to maximize her impact. So, what's next for Caitlin Clark and the Fever? With Stephanie White now at the helm, how much better can Caitlin Clark and the Fever become? You gotta think, if Caitlin felt like there was no strategy last season, and she is happy with her new coach, we're going to see a dramatic improvement in the team's play. The Fever could be a contender. Under White's leadership, Caitlin's production could reach MVP levels. She was already averaging over 23 points per game after the Olympics. With a cohesive team and better game planning, Caitlin's scoring assists and overall efficiency are bound to skyrocket. It will be near impossible for the haters to recover from Caitlin winning the MVP, but that's a strong possibility next season. The Fever made the playoffs in 2024, but they were far from contenders. With White at the helm, expect a more cohesive and competitive team. Caitlin's strengths will be better utilized, creating opportunities for her teammates. The Fever could become a legitimate playoff threat, especially if they build the roster around Caitlin's skill set. This coaching change could be a turning point for Caitlin's career. She's already cemented herself as the face of the WNBA, but with White, she could start building her championship resume. MVP honors, deep playoff runs, and continued dominance are all within reach. Caitlin Clark's comments about Christie Sides confirm what fans already suspected. There was a disconnect between superstar and coach. Sides' firing wasn't just about the Fever's playoff exit, it was about setting Caitlin up for success. And with Stephanie White stepping in, the future looks brighter than ever. What do you think? Did Caitlin get Christie fired? And how much better can the Fever be with a coach who knows how to unlock Caitlin's full potential? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more Caitlin Clark updates. Catch you in the next one.